that coming from?
Chicago police recently found themselves caught in brazen gang crossfire.
We got shots fired over here.
And for a few minutes, they felt firsthand what it's like for families living in the city's most violent neighborhoods. 131 people have been killed here so far this year, a 6% jump over the same period last year.
We're seeing unprecedented violence between these gangs with no respect for human life.
Among the victims, 20-month-old Sanaya Cole, shot in the head while sitting in a car with her dad, killed by a bullet meant for him. In the last 2.5 years, 200 kids 18 and under have been killed. Children living amidst the violence don't seem to comprehend the scope of the problem.
How many people do you think got murdered in Chicago last year? Any guesses?
I said about 16 to 17.
Actually, in 2009, there were 458 murders. The city has tried more cops on the streets, a strict 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew for kids under 18, even a handgun ban.
There's no quick Band-Aid. You just can't think you're going to fix it in one weekend, then walk away.
Since 2007, Chicago has seen its declining murder rate start to creep back up. Newark is seeing just the opposite. With a drop of 25%, it seems to be getting its murder rate under control.
I'm Jim Axelrod in Newark, where this murder trial marks a turning point in gaining that control.
A person came up to her and shot her.
In August 2007, 3 college students were lined up in a schoolyard and shot in the head. Rodolfo Godinez is the first of 6 gang members who will be tried for the killings.
Our city is in crisis.
The schoolyard murders played into an old image of Newark. In the bad old days, 15 years ago, Newark had the highest violent crime rate in America, the highest robbery rate, and a murder rate 5 times the national average. But a new attitude was starting to grab hold in Newark at the time of the murders.
I believe that every crime can be prevented. Every single crime can be prevented. You have to set the bar that high.
The new attitude belonged to the man brought in to run the police department a few months before. Gary McCarthy is turning things around in Newark.
March was a pretty good month around here, right?
March was a very good month around here, yeah.
March was the first calendar month without a homicide here in 44 years. In the first quarter of this year, murders were down 58% from the first quarter of 2006, just before McCarthy took over. Shootings were down 66%. Is stopping murder in Newark any different than stopping it in New York?
No.
Or Chicago or St. Louis or anywhere else?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the dynamics are always going to be the same.
Part of it's high tech, a network of 146 cameras and 115 microphones installed around the city. Gunshot locations can be identified and cops dispatched before 911 calls are even made. Part of it's low tech, changing shifts to get 140 more cops on the streets on nights and weekends when more crimes occur.
I asked what was the gang squad's enforcement activity at that location on Saturday. And the response was, well, the gang unit doesn't work on Saturday. And I said, well, do the gang members work on Saturday?
I was just released from prison like 6 months ago, so I've seen the change.
Even Newark's toughest residents say the city's moving in the right direction.
Back in Chicago, Police Superintendent Jody Weiss hopes his new direction can result in a similar turnaround.
But I will never accept the fact that it's normal for us to average more than 1 homicide a day.
His focus, the 9% of city streets that are home to almost all of Chicago's murders and shootings. Based on old crime patterns, police will use new computer models to try to predict where trouble may occur and send targeted police teams to neighborhoods ahead of time. Chicago police hope if they can first change perception by responding quickly, they can eventually change reality. It seems to be working in Newark. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Chicago.